3, 2, and 1.
What's up?
We are live. What's up, Brandon?
What's up, bro?
Always good to see you, man.
Good to see you too.
I miss you.
I know.
We're back, baby. It's been too long. Times are crazy. The world is on fire, but so are we. We're more on fire. We're freaking lit tonight, baby.
Always.
Let's
We're
go.
gonna be lit.
Yeah. So the artwork that we got behind us is actually a trophy that our junior wrestlers won last year. I think we took second place at a Southwest Nationals tournament.
Dude, you kill it with those
Yeah.
kids, bro.
So they gave us that cool piece of artwork, and I put that up for a reason tonight. Tonight we have a very special guest.
Yes, we do.
Coming all the way from Dallas, Texas, Kevin Carrillo.
What's up, guys? How you
What's
doing,
up, man?
Brandon, good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
Good to see you.
What's up, Josh?
Miss you, man. Miss you.
Miss you too. Miss you
Yeah.
too. It's good. Thank you so much for having me on.
I
appreciate
aspire
it.
to have that beard.
I know.
Hey, a lot of Miracle Grow and a lot of just forcing it out,
dude.
Testosterone.
There's
I guess.
technique to it, I guess.
Yeah.
I freaking got a patch here, patch there.
And you cannot even a goatee. Can you do the
I
mustache?
can do the
here?
neck. My neck comes in full.
It looks like
hard
he's
neck.
like a, I don't know what.
I'm gonna get like a fade on my
Yeah.
neck, you know?
I knew a guy that used to pride himself on growing a neck beard, like all
No
the way
way.
through. So he would. It kind of was
Was
like
he
an
Russian?
Amish. It was an Amish kind of
Oh,
look.
Amish.
Yeah. So it was interesting, but yeah, it wasn't the full beard at all.
I
Cool,
know,
man.
I got the
Wow.
patches.
The table is glad to have you here, man.
Yeah.
I'm glad we caught you while you were in New Mexico.
Yeah.
I know you're a busy man. We've been kind of talking back and forth, man. I love what you're doing, and
Thank you.
you showed us some love online, and we reached out. We're like, we want to collaborate, and we got you at a perfect time, man.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You want to introduce yourself a little bit, Kevin? Tell us, where you're from. Obviously, we know each other.
Yeah.
From back in the day.
Yeah, we go way back, man. Kevin Carrillo grew up in Belen, New Mexico. Josh Grego and my family, we go way back. I mean, we've been really, really close family friends for a long time. I know that before we started the podcast, you kind of said that in your later years that you've interacted with my dad, commuting to work, I guess, on the train. But I can reciprocate with your dad, because your dad was a champion that is hanging in the wrestling room in Belen. And Brian was always one guy that was always helping coach me and my teammates when we were younger. So
That's neat.
I remember going live with him and always thinking, why can't I beat this guy? Why can't I just can't, I don't remember how old I was, but he was so strong, man, and
He's awkward.
He's
such an awkward wrestler, because every time I wrestle him, I always get a black eye. If I get a takedown, I end up hurt somehow.
So is it sharp elbows or what?
I
What
think
does
it
he
is.
have?
Dude. I think it's a sharp head. He's got like a head that's like real. But no,
Yeah.
for sure, man. I think that's cool that I got from your family and you got from my family, and we both kind of fed into each other and became what we are today.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Don't you think? And Brandon, you were even telling us that whenever you were growing up, you had even always kind of heard about in the wrestling room, Kevin Carrillo
Oh yeah,
was.
he was a big name in the wrestling room. You look up at the walls and you want to be one of those guys. That feels it's that pride in Belen wrestling.
Right.
And that's why, you see those champions on the walls, and you want to be one of those champions.
Yep.
And that kind of feels the fire, and that's why you practice so hard in that room, is because you see all these great
Yes.
state champs, and you want to be on that wall eventually.
Yeah, it's such a cool tradition that we have, and they call it the Wall of Champions, for those of you guys that don't know. And growing up, you see it from whenever you're in junior wrestling. Every day at practice, you see this wall of all these different generations. Your dad's up there, my dad's up there, and there's not a day that goes by when you don't say, I want to freaking be up there.
Yep.
Yeah,
no, I can totally relate, because that's kind of like the Belen wrestling culture, right?
Yeah.
It's I remember growing up in the junior program and my dad taking me to the Belen duels, and just seeing those guys in their hoodies running out on the mat, and with the music going. It's one day I'm gonna be on the varsity team and I'm gonna be the guy,
right.
And then, like you said, you just always, it's glaring at you, that wall of champions, where you just want to aspire to be one of the greats.
Yeah, for sure.
And wrestling is not an easy sport, as we know. I mean, it's where it's a lifestyle sport. You really have to live true and not mess around if you want to get those results.
You can't be half in, half out.
No.
I even know some beasts that couldn't handle it in wrestling. because they would get so frustrated that they couldn't get the technique and stuff,
Yeah.
and they didn't want to put in the work. And if they did stick to it, they probably would have been so dominant. But you have to stay consistent.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a mentality that we took with us outside of the wrestling room and into our career paths, is just staying consistent.
Yeah.
Consistency, showing up every day, looking back at yesterday, saying, okay, what couldn't I get done yesterday? How am I trying to pass yesterday from today? And I think we've like, that's one thing that wrestling offers that not a lot of people talk about. And it is every sport. Like, anyone could say that about any sport. But we grew up around that specific culture where it was almost like, the only thing I could almost relate it to is like Friday Night Lights. Have you guys seen that movie?
So true. I can, completely.
Where it's
agree.
like, you're gonna get that ring, baby, and it's like you're gonna, and everyone,
Get you one of these.
guys,
Get you one of these.
and you're like a little kid, like you better get that ring.
Yeah.
Like, that's the least that's expected of you.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why we're so great. That's why we're so good. We have older people that graduated that go back into practice and help people out.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And that's why we grow. Like, whenever I graduated, I would go help you out, throw you around. You did the same with me.
Yep.
You know, I remember whenever you were training to go wrestle at college.
Yep.
You had me in the wrestling room, just me and you. Just, he would throw me around like a rag doll, dude.
Well,
Like a rag doll. I was like, and he was like, I got this workout. It says I got to do 580 push-ups, 14. And I was like, dude, I'm just trying to make varsity.
And at the time, I should have been more aware. Like, okay, like there's levels, because in college D1 level, man, it's like you were talking about earlier. It's a whole different mentality, and I remember that. But you pushed through it, man. You were like, okay, let's do it. Let's do these runs. Let's wrestle live, and let's grind it out. And,
For sure.
But that's what's so great about the sport. And you mentioned earlier about people talking about what I did in the sport and whatnot. I really want to make it clear that a lot of people shaped how I wrestled and the success that I had.
Right.
Yeah.
And I say that because I started. I wrestled for a 4-year. I don't know if a lot of people know this, but I wrestled for a 4-year state championship team. So every year that I was on varsity, we won state.
Right.
And my 8th grade year, I tried to make the varsity team, and that was the year where you had the Kip Lewises of the world, you had Joseph, my cousin, you had Nick Sanchez, Chris Sanchez, Jonathan Sanchez, Rudy Seiss. I mean, you had all of these guys that were just so good, and me wrestling and working out with them as an 8th grader really kind of got me going. And managed expectations for the following years.
Right.
Freshman year, okay, I knew what I had to do. I had to suck a lot of weight because I couldn't beat Kip at 112,
Right.
so I had to go down to 103, which was a big sacrifice, but it paid out in the end because I was part of a championship team. And then after freshman year is when I just kind of did what I wanted to do. I stayed at whatever weight I wanted.
Right.
And
do you think that benefited you?
Weight cutting? We didn't do it the right way. I did not weight cut the right way. It was so old school, and it really hurt me my freshman year. I was anticipated to at least place top 4, and the amount of weight that I cut throughout the year, it just took a toll on my body. And toward the end of the season, literally the state tournament, I remember like being able to take an opponent down, but as soon as I took him down, I was so weak that I couldn't hold them anymore. So it was this cat and mouse game of takedown, but escape. So
Right.
it just didn't pay off. I ended up taking 6th that year, and after that, I talked with my dad and my coaches, and we just evaluated. Look, that type of weight cutting is not right, and now that Kip and those guys that were seniors and they were returning state champions, and you can go where you want now, and so that was huge for me.
That's crazy, man. That's
I
crazy
can tell
that
you
say
some
that.
horror stories from cutting, which I'm sure you could too.
Well,
and,
dude, same, but I didn't figure it out till my senior year. You
Yeah.
know, I was like you, just I had good career in wrestling, but I could have always, I didn't cut right. There was, like you said, I could take an opponent down a million times, but my forearms were like this after every match, and I was
so
like
dehydrated,
cramped up.
Yeah.
And finally, I got on a nutrition plan my senior year, and it definitely benefited me, and I did it the right way, and I actually cut the most that year, but I felt the best.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that, like, a lot of people can, that just explains how important nutrition is, health is.
Yeah.
I think it's an old school way of doing it, man. And if you look at like the greats, like in college, right, like the Bo Nichols and the Bo Nichols as an example, even and David Taylor, those guys, literally like went the opposite route. They just built up their body, they lifted, they got a nutrition plan like you talked about, and they're competing with guys that, you know, 2 years ago that are 60 pounds more than 40 pounds more, and they're winning, you know. So I don't think that weight cutting is always the right answer. If you know, if there's a couple of pounds that you can cut to be competitive, then that's fine. But if it's 10 to 12 to 15 pounds and you're already at a low body fat percentage, it's a recipe for disaster.
Dude,
you know?
I'm the head coach of the junior wrestling program
now. And congratulations with the success that you've had.
Appreciate it.
You're carrying on your dad's legacy. So
that's fun, man. Great. It's fun. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're so good, is because we grew up in that program, right?
Yeah. One thing to say about your dad is like I see, and a lot of other people see in you is your dad, because you get those kids fired up. Like, my last year of wrestling was my freshman year, but in middle school, your dad coached me, and dude, he had that fire backlit under me, you know, like,
for sure.
And you have that with those kids, little niños, dude, just running around getting a nasty double leg. I'm like, what the heck? You guys doing in practice?
I'm glad you got to go to a couple practices.
Yeah,
you get to see how crazy this year got. So crazy, we had to have 2 separate practices.
Because of the amount of
we have 80 kids.
That's so great.
We have 80 kids, so now we're like trying to figure out. That's a good problem to have, though, right?
It's a great problem to have, and that just shows the commitment that the town of Belen has for its wrestling, you know, like culture. Like Belen is a wrestling town. I mean, I know that football's seeing success and whatnot, but I don't know. I'll always see it as a wrestling town.
I think so. They bring the most state champs
for sure. What we can all maybe work together to do is maybe figure out an exit plan out of high school. You know, I know you went to college, wrestled in college, but like lifestyle changes, you know, what are, like, you know, other than work, like, there's these kids are amazing in the room, they listen to everything I say, but then they go to school and they freaking get detention. It's like, you have to have that balance,
right?
You have to have that we have to be able to carry that discipline into school. I tell the kids all the time, I'm like, when you guys go to a mat, or whenever you guys are wrestling, you got to treat it like a spelling test. You got to hit that double leg a million times to where you don't even got to think about doing it.
Right.
You know, when you're doing remembering a word, you look over that word at that, like, it's the same thing, really. It's just different practices. So, like, these kids, it's just getting them to that next level, finishing school. I think that's the only thing Belen is lacking right now, is just, you know, going that next step after high school.
Yeah, I mean, there's, like everywhere, there's a lot of distractions, right? Especially in this day and age. I can't imagine being a kid in high school with cell phones and social media and all that kind of stuff. But to your point, it's what wrestling taught me was, in life, to be a balanced person, you have to kind of weigh different attributes, right? So you gotta be a good. And you all try to do this, right? Because no one's perfect. So you want to be a good person. You want to have and maintain good relationships. You want to be a good employee. You want to be a good father or a good mother or a good sibling or whatever, you know, spouse. And so being healthy, taking care of yourself, mental health. It's a balance act with all that kind of stuff. And wrestling is the same way, because, like we were talking about earlier, it's such a true sport, right? So, like, you have to make weight, so you can't be drinking, you can't be partying, you can't be
there's very little you could get away with.
There's very little you can get away with, and you're the only one out there, and people can see it right away. You know what I mean? If you didn't prepare, or if you gave up, or if you everyone sees it, and you know that they see it.
Oh yeah.
So
it's the worst feeling when you know you didn't prepare properly. And
I tell a lot of people that too, is like when I remember my 8th grade year when I stopped wrestling that last year. I remember there was a kid, dude, like skinny, you know, like, I'm gonna go in there, like, I'm not gonna take it like, just whoop me, dude. Second period, I'm like, what? How am I losing 8-2 right now? You know, like,
that is so funny.
And after that, it humbles you.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
You have to respect everyone in the sport, no matter where. Well, like how you said, there's levels to everything, right? But like, you look at someone and you just automatically judge someone, and you have that pride in you, and you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna go in there and whoop this dude.
It sucks when you get beat by one of those guys. You guys probably don't remember, but the Vanilla Gorilla, do you remember him? Did you ever hear of him?
No.
He's like a 2-time world jiu-jitsu champion, like, after high school. But he's this African American gentleman that had this skin disease that made him look all white.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
So he was pale, but he was like a super nerd. Like, he would have his glasses on, and he would wear like just like striped shirts, and he'd be playing Pokemon and stuff. And then like
go out and whoop people,
dude, like you know how a superhero like takes off their outfit,
He would take off his jumpsuit and look like the freaking Hulk. I was like, oh god.
sounds like a Jekyll and Hyde, like a
For sure,
yeah.
dude.
That's so funny. My dad has a similar story. So you talk about our dads wrestling in high school.
Yeah.
My dad, we tied in state championships. So I won 2, he won 2. But my dad, his record was 56-2. He lost 2 matches.
Dang,
and the one guy that he lost to was exactly that. It was the way he describes it is this guy didn't even have wrestling shoes on. He had shorts, a t-shirt, glasses with tape on, and tennis shoes, and like had nothing prepared to do from Santa Fe. And my dad was like, really? Like told the coach I'm wrestling him.
Oh man.
And the guy mopped him like, and this is how he explains it. You know, his words, mopped him like with the mat, like just, like all over, like beat him down. And that was a learning lesson for him, and that he instilled in me. And what you're saying is, you can't judge a book by its cover in any capacity.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're very judgmental and biased as human beings, but we have to really gut check that.
For
itself,
sure.
You know.
It's crazy how looks can be deceiving.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
That like there's this one guy, and like this is actually like in the work environment. Like so, I work at Sandy Labs,
Yeah.
and there's this guy that was visiting our site who looked like a straight up like, you know, those little homies that you see that you buy from the quarter machine.
Yeah.
Like he had like the goatee. He was even wearing a black beanie, and he like would like that. And the guy that I work with, this technologist, is like, hey, so you see that guy? I was like, yeah. He's that's the smartest guy at the labs. That's the best mathematician we have here. I was like, dang, dude. If I just saw that guy like at Walmart or something, would not even think.
It's like some Goodwill Hunting
Yeah.
stuff. You know?
Goodwill Hunting stuff.
For real though, like
Right, man.
yeah. That's crazy.
I was never that good. I didn't take school serious till like out of high school.
Yeah.
Like in high school, I was kind of just trying to do enough to I cared about sports more.
Yeah.
I tried to do well in school. I didn't focus on it as much as athletics.
Mm-hmm.
But I got a rude awakening in college because, like, I just didn't have like the study habits and like the note taking habits and stuff. So like when I first got into these classes, I'm like, okay, wait, I have to like write this stuff down and actually like retain it because it's going to be on the midterm and I'm going to lose my scholarship or not graduate. You know, it became more real at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
You've always been real good at like marketing and video editing and stuff like that. Like I remember even whenever I was like in elementary school, we would reach out to you whenever you were in high school or like maybe even a sophomore in high school, and you were making our wrestling videos for us.
Yeah.
And you were video editing, and you would take all of our footage and you would put it all together.
Yeah.
This was like before like we had all these tools that make it easy, like on a MacBook.
Yeah.
Like I remember like you were at your house and you were like a freaking wizard. I feel like that's like that's like kind of like your passion, isn't it? Like one of them.
It is, yeah, and it's funny because it can get annoying sometimes with my family because they're like, guys, I'm not ready for this video and stuff because I've always wanted to document and like just to have it, you know what I mean? And I it's a hobby for me. Like just this past weekend, we went to celebrate my parents' 40th wedding anniversary, and we were at this amazing Airbnb in Las Vegas, New Mexico, and like right next to the mountains. And so first thing, I like have my drone and I'm just taking it out and trying to figure out cinematic like director kind of styles of shooting, and it's just fun to me, man. I don't know. I that was one of the things for our class for 2007. I had the student council kind of help me in creating a video that was a recap video of our entire senior year. So that was the gift for everyone. So at the time it was a DVD, so we like literally handed out DVDs. And some people
I still got the DVD he made for us. On Marker Blend Middle School Wrestling. Heck yeah, dude, that's sick though. Like that means you're a visionary, you know? That means, and that's like something that you kind of took into your career path a little bit, right? Like you're part of KC Consulting.
Yep.
You also just started a podcast.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're creating good content, man, and you're kind of all over the place, which I like because that's kind of how I want to be. You know, kind of dabbing in everything. Yeah. And you know, if you plant good roots, you know, something will take off at different times, but it's all part of the same thing.
You're exactly right. It's the planting the roots. Like nothing happens overnight.
Right.
You know, like. I started KC Consulting at the end of 2016, and you know it didn't generate revenue right away and whatnot. But like as you talk to more people and as you understand how you can, package your services and charge people for different things that's at a fair price and all that. It all falls into place, And other ventures that I've had haven't been revenue generating, and I know that, it's gonna take years for that to happen and stuff. And you said it earlier, it's all consistency.
It's consistency.
You could be the best talent in the world, but if you burn out too fast or if you give up, you didn't last.
As long as the product is good, that's all that matters.
That's right.
Like, you don't want to create so much hype and your product be garbage, because then you'll spike and then go to nothing.
Right.
But if the content's good, someone might not find you till like your 50th episode.
Right.
But then they're like, oh dang, he's got 50 episodes. Boom! It just raises everything up a notch.
And that's natural. I mean, you got to think about it from a real basic standpoint. We have YouTube, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have Instagram, we have the media, like mainstream media, we have online. So people are digesting content at a different way, at a different pace. So like you're saying, like eventually your video or your podcast or whatever will be seen, but it's just a matter of when that person comes across it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's got to be good. Because if it's not good, it won't be shared.
Yep.
And then it won't be found because it's just gonna go in a dark hole.
For sure. And part of it's too just enjoying it.
Yeah.
We have the best time on our podcasts.
This is like an
I can tell you guys have a lot of
have
fun.
a good time.
I've seen a lot of the episodes.
I told like Brandon, and we talk about this all the time. Like, we're gonna make this, we're gonna let everyone tell their story on our podcast, but we want to do it like not in a way that we want to do it in a way where we're just ourselves the whole time. And I told Brandon, like, straight up from the first episode, like, let's just be goofy, let's just have fun.
Let's be ourselves.
Yeah, because if you pretend to be someone throughout your whole career or something like that, someone's gonna find out, and it just gets complicated. Yeah,
and I think that is becoming more the norm. Like, people are gravitating more, or at least younger people are gravitating more to podcasts because of a lot of the misinformation that's going on out there and the unauthentic kind of a way of delivering the message. Like I joke that I kind of tell sometimes my friends, it's like, why does the news still there's just one reporter on NBC that, so anytime he says coronavirus, he goes, coronavirus. And then, ladies and gentlemen, the coronavirus. It's like, dude, just say it normal.
Yeah,
talk like it's too produced at that point. Like,
they're played out.
It's kind of played out, right?
It's like a zombie that hasn't realized it's dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still walking and doing its thing, but everyone looks at it as we know you're full of crap.
Yeah.
Because we could watch the live video on the internet.
Right.
And then the way you guys interpret it is the opposite. Well, you can put them next to each other no matter what broadcast it is. Huh?
Where I work now, they just have CNN playing on the big screen or on the projector.
Yeah.
And you could see two different perspectives, and you're like, why are they wording it this way?
Yeah.
And what you said, the correspondents are just
the way they talk.
They enunciate words in a way. It's just it's just not authentic and not natural. It's such an old school way of doing it. You know what I mean? It just kind of is ridiculous. I think.
I think. Or go ahead.
I think now it's just getting the views. Because.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're making so much money off the coronavirus, off of Trump. The media has made so much money. Even though they bag on Trump all the time, they love him because he's always in the news, right?
Yeah.
And then people are always wanting to know what the heck he's saying or what the heck, with the corona stuff going on.
The riots now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It's you gotta balance it, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if you enjoy consuming the news from the mainstream media, at least be aware of be skeptical or fact check, or you know what I mean? I don't think it's healthy to take everything at face value anymore.
Yeah.
Because every side is being funded or has an agenda or there's something behind the scenes. And like I mentioned earlier, there's all these different channels where it's being delivered. So it's you just got to be cautious. It can be really, really dividing and deceptive.
Yeah. You know what I think the world needs, especially now, during this voting time, is whoever, Donald Trump and Biden, sit down for 2 hours and just hash it out, or just something where there's no BS going on. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
They
Like,
have their own podcast.
let's just
Biden made-
hear like a good back and forth thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Biden may be able to speak for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know about 2 hours.
I would say maybe 2
minutes.
before he starts talking about the hair on his leg. No, I'm just kidding.
But I see your point. If it was someone who, like you're saying, like if it was candidates where they're both
This
in
is who the
healthy
United
mental state-
States we're trusting
Right.
our country with.
Right.
Like, don't we want to at least know who they are or
Yeah.
how they talk?
Well, and also it's funny is
Not a
the
soundbite.
debate format, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's so
it's like
stupid.
30 seconds of yelling and screaming about what you're trying to get your viewpoint across until they have to go to commercial to come back to yell over each other again. And in the
Yeah.
beginning, there's like 10 different candidates that are running in the primary. So it's
Yep.
like, how do we even know where they're coming from or what their viewpoints are in that amount of time? It's impossible.
And then
It's
the fact
impossible.
that they have a time limit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, they're trying to make a point and they're like, oh, time's up.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, like, let him finish his point.
Yeah.
Like, not like normal people can't get a point across in 15 seconds.
Yeah, you don't have a
Not something
conversation
as-
yelling and going like, that's
Yeah.
this is not how we're
Yeah,
doing
it's
it.
become
Yeah,
what, like, just whoever can, I gotcha.
it's
You know?
Yeah.
Like, if I gotcha, like, in a moment, like, in, like, a debate, that person's gonna get a little bit more clout, you know?
Sound bites. Yeah.
That's
yeah.
what the big thing is too. Is sound bites.
Yeah.
Yep.
They could take something from like a whole, like I don't know, like an ordinary conversation,
Yeah.
and make it look like you said it, and it, like the content you're saying is like
A little bit off.
evil or use it against you. That's what
Yeah,
I'm trying to
use
say.
it against you.
Yeah, like you see that with Donald Trump. You see that with Joe Biden. You see that with every if
Mhm.
it's Fox, it's Joe Biden. If it's CNN, it's Donald Trump. And then
Mhm.
put a soundbite just to make. They even did it Joe Rogan.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, with Bernie, right? Was it
Yeah,
Bernie?
well, they
think
said
so.
that he endorsed him. Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
like, no, I did it.
Dude, because I think that they asked him was, of the two candidates, who would you select? And he said Biden, and then people said that he endorsed. Or,
Mhm.
no, excuse me, not Biden,
He
Bernie.
said Bernie.
And then people said that he officially endorsed Bernie. Which
Yeah.
I don't think that was official endorsement.
It's just like saying, yeah, if I
Like,
would, I, you
if
know,
I had to choose between the two, yeah.
gun to my head.
Yeah.
But no, I think like I'm glad that the podcast realm has taken off.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you said, even if you're not getting that much views, for those of you guys that are starting it, you can't take off right away. You can't expect to take off right away.
No.
But at least the world will know who you are.
Mhm.
I think that whenever people are looking to buy products or looking to get involved in something, they don't want to know what it is. They want to know why.
Yeah.
You know, who are you? Who's the person behind it? We all know Elon Musk. You know, Elon
Right.
Musk is behind SpaceX. He's behind
Yeah.
Tesla. But we all know Elon. We know the person behind all of this stuff, and it sells.
Yeah.
Because we almost kind of trust Elon in a way. We see who he is as a person,
Mhm.
and I think that's huge, man. And then even by him going on like Joe Rogan podcasts and stuff,
Yeah, that's cool.
like you can't say that didn't like help out his stocks and stuff.
Yeah.
They said it went down or whatever, but I think it really went up.
Right.
You know?
And who cares? He's so rich at this point. Like, I mean, I guess if you have stock, that matters. But like, we want to see him, like you said, as a person. Like,
Yeah.
you know, we want to get to know him. And
Is he a robot or not?
is
Tell
he
me right
is he
now.
half alien or not? And I believe he is. I think he's like half robot
Like
or
he's
something.
sent here to like gift humanity.
Yeah, he's
with,
from
like,
the
some
future for
technology.
sure. Yeah, he's doing some crazy stuff, man.
He is doing
Yeah.
some crazy stuff.
How sick would that be if he just like jumped in a Tesla and like just took off to Mars by himself?
Probably did.
He's like, you know what? Screw you guys.
You've heard of? He's got the Boring Company.
What is that?
So he has like obviously like, multiple companies, but like they set up one. It's called the Boring Company, where he just does fun products that he wants to create on the side when he has free time. So like that flamethrower.
Oh, okay.
Is that
Is
what
it
it's
not
from?
a? No, it's not a flamethrower.
It's not a
Don't get it
flamethrower.
twisted.
That's right. It's not a flamethrower. Yeah. But that's one of those products
Yeah.
that he would create from the Boring
That's
Company.
sick.
So
So
and he only like releases them at a time. So you
Mhm.
have to like be seeing what's coming out. I think is how it works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like there's like a limited amount. That
There's
gets
like
released.
500 of the flamethrowers, right?
Yeah, I
Something
think they're
like that.
sold out. Like he does it in, like you said, in batches or quantities. Yeah.
For sure. So why don't you tell us a little bit about like your podcast that you just
Yeah.
started? And I watched a couple episodes. I like it. It's got
Thanks,
a lot
man.
of good content.
Thanks.
The guests that you have are super informative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed, man.
Thanks.
You know, it's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's it's the mission for it really is there's so much stigma around cannabis and that plant in particular, right? Just because of THC.
Right.
THC is a cannabinoid, and there are 150 cannabinoids found in the cannabis plant.
Dang.
we've only discovered 15 of them.
Wow.
So THC being one, CBD being another, CBN is another, CBG. There's all these different acronyms, and they have different health properties. So THC is obviously like a psychoactive. So it's like it gets you high, you feel real mellow. CBD is an anti-inflammatory, so like and for pain relief and anxiety. So if you want to relax and not feel stoned, but just feel like a body relaxation, that's what CBD does. CBG is another one where, and they're starting to learn more about it, but it's like more neural. So people take fish oil for memory, right? Like so CBG would be like that same type of
Effect,
molecule or effect. So basically, the podcast is called Cannabinoid Connect because we need to get over this stigma, and we need to get out of the pain management of opiates and just prescribing pills that are just just rampant, just getting profiting the pharmaceutical companies and whatnot,
your freaking kidneys too,
and killing people, right? I mean, New Mexico is a perfect example of that problem, as are a lot of other states, and so. The point of the podcast is just to have scientists on, politicians on, geneticists on, farmers on that are talking about this plant to legitimize it more. And I think now's the time to do it because I've always kind of thought about doing it, but the Farm Bill of 2018 allowed mass cultivation and production of hemp now. So that means like states like Texas. I mean, it's federal, but there's states that have had to submit their plan to get this going, and Texas is one. And so now the regulation is you can grow a hemp plant, but it has to be under 0.3 THC. So that's how they regulate it.
Okay.
So
still, that's a start.
Yeah,
it's a start because think about how much was made from hemp, right? You can build cars from hemp plastic. There's called hempcrete. You can build houses, shirts, clothing, paper.
Did you say hempcrete?
Yeah,
hempcrete. I just learned about that.
Build my
term.
house at hempcrete.
That's right. Yeah, it's actually made, and don't quote me. I think it's made from like the actual like the fiber of the plant.
Wow.
Because it's
so it's like weaved almost in a way.
Yeah.
And then
So
it's
it's
mixed with something to make it like.
Right.
So just think about the industrial boom once that takes off in the next couple of years. So that's the point of the podcast, is just to talk about not only are there health benefits to the cannabis plant, but the opportunities with the hemp plant are like out of this world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it could really revolutionize and change a lot of things.
For sure.
So.
No, it offers good education for dumb people like me that don't really
I didn't
know.
know when I listened to one podcast and I was like, dang, I don't know crap about this stuff.
It's crazy. Well, and I didn't know either, right? You go into a dispensary and they're saying, okay, you say, I want something for sleep or for back pain or whatever, and they'll say, well, you need Gorilla Glue or you need this strain, which is, it's all over marketing. It's really like we need to understand what each molecule does so that we can go into those dispensaries and say, I need CBG because like I've been really foggy lately and I don't remember a lot of things. And I have like anxiety, so I need CBD. You know what I mean? So
just like how they give you prescriptions,
exactly.
Like you need this amount.
Exactly.
You know, maybe you need a little bit of extra of CBD, and then maybe you could maybe mix them and get a perfect mixture.
Yep.
Like I want 3% of this, 10% of this,
and that's the great
finding a balance, balance.
That's a great point because that's exactly like if you're looking for a CBD product, you always want to make sure that it's full spectrum and not isolate. So what isolate means is that they're just taking CBD out, and that's what it is. But full spectrum means it has CBD plus all the other cannabinoids, and that's better for you health-wise as opposed to taking just kind of one. So that, to your point, I mean, just making sure that you know what you're taking, the right amount. That's what we do in the pharmaceutical world right now. Why don't we do it with the plant?
Yeah, we need to move away from that, man.
Yeah.
Especially like just seeing all the different purposes that we could use for it and how easy it is to grow. It's very easy to grow.
Yep.
I mean, I think there's a lot of potential in that realm. And just going back to like pharmaceutical, like the way that they're pushing pills and stuff, I'm a perfect example of that. Like I've never gotten addicted to anything, but I could have. I had a huge surgery a couple years ago, and they were trying to push me heavy on all the bad stuff, and I straight up told them, I said, I'd rather be in chronic pain than to do this.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to lose my mind and get addicted to this.
Mhm.
Then I have two problems that didn't exist before.
Exactly.
You know, like
Yeah.
what's the point? You
Right.
know, what's the point? There has to be a different solution to getting health without having 20,000 other side effects that are going to affect you down the road. That's not health.
No.
You know, that's solving one thing and creating 100 different things.
Yep.
Right.
From like the way the statistics look, it doesn't look like CBD products, hemp products don't cause that many side effects that would hurt anyone.
No.
You know?
In fact, a guest on my podcast, they said that, I think this was the number, don't quote me, I think they said 40% of pharmaceutical drugs, one of their side effects is death.
Oh yeah.
40%.
The coronavirus death rate
Yeah.
is 0.001.
So it's just, it's crazy, and no one, like, you talk about marijuana and THC, like, even that cannabinoid, you can't overdose over
Yeah,
it. Like,
you can't.
Yeah, it's impossible, physically
Mhm.
impossible to smoke. You'd have to smoke 100 times your body weight
Mhm.
in like a second to overdose, I think. So
Yeah, like they like overdosed like a rat by like basically just pushing it like through its freaking
yeah.
like it'd probably just die from smoke inhalation. You know what I mean? Like it probably wasn't even like the
Or it's really hungry and
yeah. It's just like
I need water.
thirsty and hungry. Yeah.
no man. I'm glad that you're doing that.
Thanks, man.
Don't
Yeah.
stop. Keep educating the public.
Yeah.
Your voice will get heard. The guests that you're having on are super well thought out. You know, you're not just getting random people. They know what the heck they're talking
Yeah.
about.
Yeah.
And you're good at keeping the conversation, you know, to where we can understand it too.
Yeah.
You ask all the great questions.
Well, I'm a dummy, so when I'm up there, I'm not the guy. I really like I'm learning as I go. Is what I'm saying. Like in this world, it's new to me. So
That's good.
I see it as a double benefit
For sure.
because I'm building relationships with people in the industry, and also I'm learning at the same time.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
I mean, every podcast is different. I'll do my research and I'll have questions prepared, but. Like how it goes with your podcast Against the Grain. I mean, you guys, it's organic, right? It just
Yeah.
kind of goes wherever, and
Right.
that's what you want, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, as a listener, you know, just from listening to podcasts and just stuff on
Yeah.
YouTube, I listen more to people who, like you said, don't talk to you like the news. Like people who just like talk normal to each other.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, and that's kind of what we're going at here.
It's easier to find out if someone's full of shit or not. If you can hear them actually talk and be asked questions and like for a certain amount of time. You know what
For
I mean?
sure.
Yeah.
Like there's only so much faking that you can do, you know,
Yeah.
when you're put in that type of platform.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I respect that, and you know, just I'm glad. I can't say it enough. You know, I'm glad to have you on the podcast. I'm glad to be like bringing your realm into our listeners, because a lot of people that are listening, you know, are probably curious about that stuff,
Yeah.
and you know, they're looking for you know, education on that type of stuff. And maybe we can inspire like some of our listeners to jump into it. Maybe we can, you know, after this podcast, we can get some people that are interested in collaborating and doing different things in our community. You know, sky's the limit, guys.
Yeah.
We could really do whatever we want, but we just got to put our minds to it.
Yeah.
And you know, we have so much potential at this table right now.
Mhm.
And I think you guys should stay tuned. A lot of things are gonna happen. I feel like after this podcast, a lot of things are, you know, I feel like it's gonna start the conversation with us too more. And you know, how can we make our community better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
From the bottom up, you know, from the kids all the way to the top,
Mhm.
and just kind of being a middleman for everyone.
Yep. And you talk about a lot about my experience, but you got to give yourself credit too, man. I mean, you're working with the junior wrestlers every day. You're cultivating those kids. You're teaching them life lessons outside of the wrestling room, which is very important.
Thanks, man.
And you're also, you know, dispersing that experience and knowledge that you have in a different capacity on this podcast.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's good. You know what I mean? That's good, and that's good that you're repping where we came from. 'Cause
Yeah, for sure.
There's so it's such a unique place, man. Like I can't tell you how many like successful, like amazing people I graduated with from Belen in 2007. Like Brad Cordova was listed 30 under 30 in Forbes for one of his companies. You know,
That's nuts.
you've got others. I mean, that's just one example, but there's like just so Jesse Maestas, another in Albuquerque. He's doing so well in his.
Chris Alicio.
You know, Chris
even too.
Yeah,
Alicio.
Chris Alicio.
I talk with Chris a lot.
Brian Johnston has an executive director level
This
role.
is just the tip of the
It's
iceberg.
crazy, you know.
And there's so much potential because
Luciano Romero works at Lockheed Martin.
Yeah, and it, dude, you know, like a lot of that has to do with how we were brought up.
For sure.
Being in, you can't like. I know it sucks to grow up in a tough environment, but it molds you and it makes you harder and tougher.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people have discipline and stuff that a lot of people don't have, you know. And I'm glad that we can use it for the better, and we're giving back. You know, it started from here. It's going down. I know you're gonna help the generation below you.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
we got a lot of stuff planned with the orphanages coming up.
What's that? What are you guys doing with the orphanages?
We did it once last year. We went and barbecued. What is it called? I forget what it's called.
It's like
Niños.
El Rancho del Niños
Yeah,
or
just
something.
feeding them though. Like,
So we'll
Yeah.
go. We'll take food. We'll buy just a ton of toys.
Nice.
And we kind of just
Yeah.
try and have an event to where our listeners can come interact with the kids and also hang out with us.
Yeah.
But we want to make it like we only were able to go once last year. But like once this Corona stuff ends, we want to like make it a thing to where we could go.
Right.
You know,
Right.
consistently. Maybe even if it's like once
Yeah.
a month or something, and you know, spark some light.
Yeah.
That's huge. Yeah. Any little thing like that would make a huge impact on their lives for sure.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Right
great.
on, man.
Yeah.
I think that about wraps it up. Do you have anything else you want to plug? Do you want to give your IG? You said you had your podcast.
Yeah, so my Instagram is Kevin L. Carrillo, podcast Cannabinoid Connect, and I want to thank you guys again for having me on.
Yeah,
man.
man,
This
thank
was
you.
really
Thank
fun.
you for we'll have to do
on.
this again.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want you guys to come on as well, because eventually this podcast won't be just about cannabis, whatnot. We have endocannabinoid systems naturally as humans, so Cannabinoid Connect is really just also a way for like human beings to connect and talk
Yeah.
through stuff.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
Cool.
a lot.
That was awesome.
That's kind of the marketing thinking behind that. So.
For sure.
Yeah.
Maybe when we go down for Austin city limits,
Yeah.
Yeah.
stop by.
Hit us up, man. We're in Dallas.
Yeah, we
Right
will,
on,
definitely.
man.
Cool.
Hey, thanks for
All right.
everything.
Thanks, man.
Against the
having me.
grain.
Yes.
We love you guys.
Thank you for
We'll
coming
see you
on.
soon.
Appreciate it.